There's a brutal truth about attachment. It makes you weak. When you cling to someone emotionally, you give them power over you. You let their actions dictate your mood, their absence dictate your worth, and their words dictate your inner peace. But what if you could break free? What if you could reclaim your peace and become untouchable? Emotional detachment isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about taking back control. It's about freeing yourself from emotional chains and learning to live for yourself. Because here's the harsh reality. The more attached you are, the more vulnerable you become. Today, I'll show you how to emotionally detach from someone without losing yourself in the process. By the way, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, self-improvement, and navigating life with wisdom, you'll love my free newsletter. Every Sunday, I share powerful lessons, controversial truths, and practical strategies to help you level up, all for free. Want to join? Sign up using the link below and start receiving value-packed content straight to your inbox every week. And if you're a brand looking to sponsor my content and reach a highly engaged audience, feel free to reach out via my email in the description. Let's create something impactful together. 1. See them as a lesson, not a loss. Most people see heartbreak as a tragedy. I see it as tuition. The painful, gut-wrenching kind that forces you to level up. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Some people come into your life solely to break you so you can rebuild stronger. They weren't meant to stay. They were meant to teach. When I first got attached to someone who didn't value me, I thought I was losing something special. But looking back, I wasn't losing anything. I was gaining clarity. I saw all the ways I compromised myself, ignored red flags, and allowed my emotions to override my self-respect. And that's the real lesson. You don't lose people. You lose illusions. Think about it. If this person was truly good for you, you wouldn't be here looking for ways to detach. Maybe they were there to expose your weaknesses. Maybe they were a test to see if you'd choose yourself. Maybe they existed to show you what you should never tolerate again. Either way, they served a purpose. But here's where most people mess up. They waste the pain. They cry. They suffer. They beg for closure, but they never actually learn. And that's why they end up in the same toxic patterns, repeating the same mistakes with different faces. The universe doesn't let you move forward until you pass the lesson. If you refuse to learn, you'll keep attracting the same situation over and over again. So instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What did this teach me?" The sooner you extract the lesson, the sooner you free yourself from the cycle. And once you truly understand the lesson, you won't need closure. You'll have wisdom. And wisdom is worth more than any apology, any explanation, or any second chance. Now, let's get brutally honest. Sometimes the lesson isn't just about them. It's about you. Maybe this person revealed your insecurities. Maybe they showed you that you crave validation. Maybe they made you realize that your idea of love was based on movies, not reality. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it's necessary because if you don't take responsibility for your patterns, you will repeat them. You will keep falling for emotionally unavailable people. You will keep justifying mistreatment because you see their potential. You will keep believing that love has to be hard, painful, and dramatic to be real. Here's something controversial. Some of the worst people in your life will be your greatest teachers. The person who betrayed you. They taught you the value of loyalty. The one who ghosted you. They showed you the power of indifference. The one who made you feel small. They forced you to see how much you needed to grow. If you take the pain personally, you become bitter. If you take the pain as a lesson, you become unstoppable. And let's be real. If they hadn't hurt you, would you have changed? Would you have set better boundaries? Would you have stopped chasing after people who don't choose you? Probably not. Pain forces you to evolve in ways that comfort never will. That's why you should be grateful for the ones who hurt you, not because they deserve to, but because their actions gave you the push you needed. I remember thinking, why did I let myself get so attached? The answer was simple. I ignored the truth because the fantasy felt better. I wanted to believe they cared as much as I did. I wanted to believe my love could fix them. I wanted to believe that if I gave enough, they would finally see my worth. But here's the ugly reality. When someone truly values you, they don't make you question it. If you have to constantly wonder where you stand, you're not standing anywhere at all. Once you learn to see people as lessons rather than losses, detaching becomes easier. You stop obsessing over why they hurt you and start focusing on what you gained from the experience. You take the lesson, apply it, and move forward. That's how you break the cycle. That's how you win. 2. Create psychological distance. Cut off unnecessary contact. Stop stalking their social media. Remove triggers that bring them to your mind. If you keep letting them occupy your mental space, how can you ever move on? This is where most people fail. They say they want to detach, but keep reopening wounds. They check their Instagram stories, analyze their posts, and ask mutual friends about them. That's not moving on. That's self-inflicted torture. Every time you look them up, you reinforce their presence in your mind, making detachment impossible. It's like trying to heal a broken leg while constantly poking at the wound. You're just delaying your own recovery. I've been there. I told myself I was over someone. Yet, I'd still scroll through old messages like they were sacred texts. I'd reread conversations, trying to find hidden meanings in their words. I convinced myself that just checking their profile wouldn't hurt. But it did. It kept me stuck. Every picture, every update felt like a dagger, reminding me of what I was trying to escape. It was like trying to quit smoking while keeping a pack of cigarettes in my pocket. Pointless, self-destructive, and exhausting. The hard truth. If you want to detach, you have to be ruthless. Block them if you have to meet their posts, delete old texts, stop reminiscing about the good times, and start remembering the whole picture. Nostalgia will trick you into thinking they were better than they actually were. It will highlight the happy moments while conveniently erasing the reasons why you needed to leave. Don't fall for that trap. Every time you let them creep back into your thoughts, you're voluntarily shackling yourself to your past. And here's another brutal fact. If they really cared, you wouldn't be in a position where you need to detach. Let that sink in. If someone genuinely valued you, respected you, and wanted to be in your life, you wouldn't have to force distance. People who truly want to stay in your life don't make you question your worth. They don't make you feel like an afterthought. So by keeping that psychological space, you're not just moving on, you're reclaiming your power, your self-respect, and your emotional freedom. Detachment is a mental game. You have to train your brain to see them as a closed chapter, not as an option, not as a what if, just as a part of your past that no longer serves you. The moment you stop giving them free real estate in your head, you start winning. And that's the goal, to take back control of your mind, your emotions, and your future. But this process is not instant. It's a battle. Some days you'll feel strong, and other days you'll be tempted to check up on them just to feel that tiny connection again. That's normal. But every time you resist, you build resilience. Every time you stop yourself from looking them up, you regain a little more control over your own life. And slowly, the grip they had on your emotions will loosen. You don't need closure. You don't need an apology. You don't need an explanation. What you need is distance. Emotional, mental, and physical distance. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you create for yourself by choosing to move forward. Because in the end, the only person who truly deserves your attention and energy is you. And the moment you fully realize that is the moment you truly set yourself free. 3. Train yourself to enjoy solitude. Being alone isn't lonely. It's powerful. Learn to enjoy your own company. The more self-sufficient you become, the less you'll need external validation. Most people fear solitude because they associate it with rejection. They think being alone means being unwanted. But solitude isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to reconnect with yourself, to figure out who you really are without the influence of others. When you learn to love your own presence, you stop relying on people to fill the void inside you. You stop clinging to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. I used to struggle with this. I would constantly seek distractions, social media, texting, meaningless conversations just to avoid sitting with my own thoughts. I felt uneasy in silence, as if being alone meant something was wrong with me. But the moment I forced myself to embrace solitude, everything changed. I started reading more, thinking deeply, and realizing that I didn't need anyone to complete me. I was already whole. The truth is, solitude builds strength. It teaches you independence. It forces you to face yourself, your emotions, and your insecurities. And when you learn to be comfortable alone, you become dangerous because no one can control you with their absence. You don't fear people leaving anymore because you know you'll be fine regardless. Start small. Spend an evening without your phone. Go out to eat alone. Take a solo trip. Sit in silence and reflect. At first, it will feel strange. You'll feel the urge to grab your phone, call someone, or find some noise to fill the space. Resist it. Let the silence settle in. Because once you get past the initial discomfort, you'll realize that solitude is a gift, a sanctuary. And the more you embrace it, the less you'll depend on others for happiness. If you truly want to detach emotionally, you have to train yourself to find peace within. Not in distractions, not in other people, just within yourself. That's real power. When you master solitude, you develop an unshakable foundation of self-trust. You stop tolerating people who drain your energy because you no longer fear being without them. You begin making choices based on what's best for you rather than what keeps you in someone else's good graces. You stop seeking approval, validation, and company just for the sake of it. You become intentional with the people you allow into your life. Think about it. Most of the world's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders valued solitude. They understood that true growth happens when you have the space to reflect, create, and evolve without interference. They weren't afraid of being alone because they knew solitude was the birthplace of wisdom and strength. The more time you spend with yourself, the more you realize that you are enough. You don't need constant validation. You don't need someone else to make you feel worthy. You don't need to be surrounded by people to feel whole. Everything you've been looking for, peace, confidence, clarity, has been within you all along. You just have to embrace the quiet long enough to find it. 4. Surround yourself with emotionally strong people. The company you keep influences your emotional state. Be around people who lift you up, not ones who make you dwell on what's lost. Emotional detachment isn't just about cutting ties with one person. It's about reshaping your entire environment. If you constantly surround yourself with people who dwell in negativity, who obsess over their past, who live in a cycle of self-pity, you'll absorb their mindset. You'll find yourself stuck in the same emotional rut, replaying old memories and reopening wounds that should be healing. Instead, seek out emotionally strong individuals. Those who have overcome hardship, who don't let their past define them, who embrace change with resilience. These people don't sit around dissecting every heartbreak or betrayal. They focus on personal growth, on moving forward, on building something better. And when you're around them, that mindset starts to rub off on you. I once had a friend who constantly reminded me of my past mistakes. Every conversation circled back to old wounds, old regrets, and things I was trying to move past. It felt like I was shackled to my past every time we spoke. The day I distanced myself from that friendship was the day I felt free to truly move forward. Who you spend time with shapes your emotional world. If you surround yourself with people who are stuck, you'll stay stuck. But if you surround yourself with those who push forward, who teach you resilience, who remind you of your strength rather than your pain, you'll find it easier to let go. You'll stop defining yourself by what you've lost and start focusing on what you can build. Detachment isn't isolation. It's choosing who gets access to your energy. Choose wisely. Take a hard look at your circle. Are your friends and acquaintances pushing you forward? Or are they dragging you back into old habits and thought patterns? Emotionally strong people aren't just positive thinkers. They are people who have been through struggles and learned how to rise above them. They aren't emotionally dependent on others to feel whole. And they won't let you wallow in self-pity. Instead, they'll challenge you to grow, to take accountability, and to become a better version of yourself. There's a reason successful and emotionally stable people are selective about their inner circle. They know that who you surround yourself with will either elevate you or hold you back. If you spend time with people who complain, who refuse to heal, who make excuses for their circumstances, it will infect your mindset. But if you choose to be around people who embrace growth, who find solutions instead of problems, who accept change rather than resist it, you will naturally start to embody those same qualities. It's not always easy to walk away from those who don't serve your best interests. But ask yourself this: what's harder? Letting go of people who keep you stagnant or staying stuck in a place that no longer helps you grow? The choice is yours. Your environment is a reflection of your future. If you truly want to emotionally detach and move forward, make sure the people around you are doing the same. 5. Train yourself to enjoy solitude. Being alone isn't lonely. It's powerful. Learn to enjoy your own company. The more self-sufficient you become, the less you'll need external validation. Most people fear solitude because they associate it with rejection. They think being alone means being unwanted. But solitude isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to reconnect with yourself, to figure out who you really are without the influence of others. When you learn to love your own presence, you stop relying on people to fill the void inside you. You stop clinging to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. I used to struggle with this. I would constantly seek distractions, social media, texting, meaningless conversations just to avoid sitting with my own thoughts. I felt uneasy in silence, as if being alone meant something was wrong with me. But the moment I forced myself to embrace solitude, everything changed. I started reading more, thinking deeply, and realizing that I didn't need anyone to complete me. I was already whole. The truth is, solitude builds strength. It teaches you independence. It forces you to face yourself, your emotions, and your insecurities. And when you learn to be comfortable alone, you become dangerous because no one can control you with their absence. You don't fear people leaving anymore because you know you'll be fine regardless. Many people stay in unhealthy relationships or toxic friendships simply because they fear solitude. They'd rather endure mistreatment than sit alone with their thoughts. But ask yourself, is temporary company worth long-term misery? The truth is, the more comfortable you are being alone, the higher your standards will become. You won't tolerate half-hearted relationships, manipulative people, or those who drain your energy. Instead, you'll protect your peace at all costs. Start small. Spend an evening without your phone. Go out to eat alone. Take a solo trip. Sit in silence and reflect. At first, it will feel strange. You'll feel the urge to grab your phone, call someone, or find some noise to fill the space. Resist it. Let the silence settle in. Because once you get past the initial discomfort, you'll realize that solitude is a gift, a sanctuary. And the more you embrace it, the less you'll depend on others for happiness. Use solitude to improve yourself. Read books that challenge your thinking. Learn new skills that make you more capable. Exercise to strengthen your body. Meditate to clear your mind. Instead of seeing solitude as an empty space, fill it with growth. Because once you do, you'll never see being alone as a problem again. It will become your greatest asset. True solitude isn't just about being physically alone. It's about mental and emotional independence. It's the ability to be at peace in your own world without needing external noise to validate your existence. It's about developing an unshakable core, one that doesn't waver based on the attention, approval, or absence of others. When you become truly self-sufficient, you will attract relationships from a place of strength rather than need. You won't chase people. You will choose them wisely. Embracing solitude doesn't mean isolating yourself forever. It means learning how to enjoy your own company so that when you do connect with others, it's out of choice, not desperation. It means becoming so confident in yourself that no relationship, no loss, no rejection can shake your foundation. Because the strongest person in the room isn't the one who is surrounded by people. It's the one who is completely at peace even when they're alone. If you truly want to detach emotionally, you have to train yourself to find peace within. Not in distractions, not in other people, just within yourself. That's real power. 6. Don't rush into a rebound. Jumping into another attachment won't fix the emotional wounds. Take the time to heal properly before seeking another connection. Rebounds feel like a quick fix, a distraction, a way to numb the pain, to prove to yourself and others that you've moved on. But in reality, they often do more harm than good. When you rush into another connection without healing, you bring your emotional baggage with you. You compare, you project, and you set yourself up for another cycle of disappointment. Many people mistake loneliness for readiness. They think that finding someone new will erase the old wounds. But all it does is cover them up temporarily. And when that new relationship starts to crack, the unresolved pain resurfaces stronger than before. Instead of healing, you just keep adding layers of emotional turmoil. I've seen people jump from one relationship to the next, convinced that a new person will fix what the last one broke. But they end up in a pattern, constantly searching for someone to complete them when the real problem is their inability to sit with themselves and process their emotions. Healing isn't about replacing someone. It's about rebuilding yourself. Take time to be alone, to reflect, to understand what went wrong and what lessons you need to take forward. Rushing into a rebound means you haven't fully detached from the past. And if you're still emotionally tied to someone else, you can't truly be present for someone new. It's unfair to yourself and to the other person. Instead of seeking a rebound, seek growth. Work on yourself. Get comfortable with your own company. Strengthen your mind and your heart. Because when you finally do enter a new relationship, it should be a choice, not a crutch, not an escape, but a genuine connection built on a solid foundation. True healing isn't about finding someone new. It's about becoming someone new, someone who no longer needs a rebound to feel whole. The harsh truth is that rebounds often make you feel lonelier than solitude ever could. Why? Because deep down, you know it's forced. You know you're using another person as an emotional bandage instead of truly healing. And that realization hits even harder when the rebound doesn't work out because now you're left with two heartbreaks instead of one. Instead of rushing into a new attachment, invest in yourself. Travel alone. Pursue a passion you've neglected. Build friendships that aren't based on romantic validation. The more you focus on your personal development, the stronger and more self-sufficient you become. If you're always seeking a rebound, you're delaying the inevitable, the moment where you have to face yourself. But when you finally do, you'll realize that solitude isn't your enemy. It's your greatest opportunity to rebuild, to grow, and to become the kind of person who doesn't need a relationship to feel whole. Because the healthiest relationships aren't built from desperation. They're built from two complete individuals who choose each other not because they need to, but because they want to. 7. Surround yourself with emotionally strong people. The company you keep influences your emotional state. Be around people who lift you up, not ones who make you dwell on what's lost. Emotions are contagious. If you surround yourself with people who are constantly complaining, wallowing in negativity, or reminiscing about past hurts, you'll absorb that energy like a sponge. But if you spend time with people who are emotionally strong, resilient, and forward-thinking, you'll start mirroring their mindset. Strength breeds strength. When you're emotionally vulnerable, it's easy to fall into circles that feed your pain, instead of helping you heal. Some people thrive on drama, constantly rehashing their past, looking for sympathy instead of solutions. If you keep engaging with those people, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle of sadness and self-pity. I learned this the hard way. After a difficult breakup, I found myself surrounded by people who encouraged my sadness. They meant well, but their constant reminders of my past and their own bitter experiences only kept me trapped. It wasn't until I started spending time with people who had overcome similar struggles, who focused on growth, discipline, and self-improvement that my perspective changed. I started seeing my pain as fuel instead of a burden. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. People who don't allow you to dwell on the past, but push you to build a stronger future. Seek out mentors, friends, or even online communities that promote resilience and personal development. Read books written by emotionally strong individuals. Listen to people who have turned their pain into wisdom. It's also crucial to cut out toxic influences. If certain friendships revolve around complaining, gossiping, or emotional dependency, it might be time to take a step back. You don't have to cut them off completely, but you do need to limit their influence over your emotions. Choose carefully who you allow into your mental space. The right people won't let you sink into despair. They'll remind you of your strength, hold you accountable for your growth, and encourage you to move forward. Because true emotional detachment doesn't come from isolation. It comes from surrounding yourself with the right kind of support. Detaching emotionally from someone isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about freeing yourself from attachments that drain your energy, distort your self-worth, and keep you tethered to the past. True emotional strength comes from within, from knowing that you don't need anyone to complete you because you are already whole. The process won't be easy. There will be moments of weakness, nostalgia, and doubt. You'll be tempted to reach out, to revisit old memories, to hold on to the familiar even when it no longer serves you. But every time you choose yourself, your peace, your growth, your future, you take another step towards emotional freedom. Remember this. The people who come into your life are either blessings or lessons. If they're meant to stay, they will. If they leave, let them go with grace. The only person you are guaranteed to have forever is yourself. So invest in that relationship above all else. You are stronger than your emotions, stronger than your past, and stronger than you think. Keep moving forward, and soon you'll realize that the weight you've been carrying wasn't love. It was just an attachment. And when you finally let it go, you'll feel lighter, freer, and ready to embrace the life you truly deserve.